Okay, so as we move into our second topic, no, evaluation of leadership to classical to contemporary theories. It is important to recognize that leadership did not emerge as a single fixed concept. No? Instead, leadership thinking evolved over time in response to social change, organizational complexity, and shifting expectation of leaders. What leaders were expected to do in the early industrial era is vastly different from what is demanded of executives today. Understanding this evolution allows us to appreciate why no single leadership theory fits all situations. Leadership theories reflect the realities of their time. So through examining their progression, we gain insight into how leadership thinking matured from authority-based models to people-centered and adaptive approaches. And this topic provides a historical and conceptual backbone for executive leadership practice. Because early leadership theories were heavily influenced by the belief that leaders were born, not made. No? Classical theories such as the great man theory and trait theory emphasize inherent qualities like intelligence, charisma, and dominance. No? Leadership was viewed as an exclusive domain of a few exceptional individuals. And these ideas align with hierarchical organizational structures common in the past. No? While these theories are limited by today's standards, no, they contributed to the early understanding of leadership characteristics. They also shaped, no, how organizations selected and promoted leaders. Examining these early theories help us understand the roots of leadership elitism, no, and authority-driven leadership. As organizations became more complex, leadership thinking began to shift from who leaders are to what leaders do. So behavioral theories emerged, focusing on leadership style and observable action. So researchers began to study how leaders interact with their teams and how behavior influences performance. And this marked a significant departure from purely trait-based thinking. No, leadership was now seen as something that could be learned and developed. And these theories introduced the idea that effective leadership involves balancing task orientation with concern for people. So this shift laid the foundation for leadership development and training programs we see today. So the evolution continued, no, with the recognition that leadership effectiveness depend heavily on context. No? Contingency and situational theories challenge the idea of a universal best leadership style. These theories argue that effective leadership varies depending on factors such as task structure, team readiness, and environmental uncertainty. Leaders must adapt their approach to the situation rather than rely on a fixed style. And this perspective was particularly important for executives operating in dynamic environments. It introduced flexibility and adaptability as core leadership competencies. Now, understanding this phase of leadership evolution is critical for executives managing diverse teams and changing conditions. In more recent years and decades, no, leadership theories have expanded to include psychological, emotional, ethical, and transformational dimension. Contemporary theories such as transformational leadership, servant leadership, authentic leadership, and distributed leadership reflect modern organizational values. And these approaches emphasize purpose empowerment, ethics, and shared leadership. No, leadership is no longer confined to formal authority. It can emerge at multiple levels of the organization. Executives are now expected to inspire, develop others, and lead change. No? And this evolution mirrors the shift toward knowledge-based, collaborative, and values-driven organization. Understanding this progression equips leaders to choose approaches that align with modern leadership challenges. Having established the broad landscape of leadership through thought and its historical progression, we will now deepen the discussion through a more structured examination of key leadership theories. Our presenter will guide us through the major stages of leadership evolution and explain how each theory contributes to our understanding of leadership today. And this will help us connect historical perspective with contemporary executive practice. With that, I now give the floor to Sikay, no, for presentation on evolution of leadership thought, classical to contemporary theories.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. To our professor, the Dean of the Graduate School of World City Colleges, Doc Marmelo Abante, and to my classmates, a pleasant morning and belated Merry Christmas to all. I am Lerma Sikay. I currently work in the Philippine National Police, and today I will be discussing the evolution of leadership thought from classical theories to contemporary approaches. This presentation will show how leadership thinking evolved as organizations and societies became more complex, and why modern leaders, especially in government and local government units, must be flexible, ethical, and context aware. Our discussion will begin by answering an important foundational question. Why should we study the evolution of leadership? To what each theory explains, to how they apply in Philippine and public sector context. Leadership theories did not develop all at once. Each theory emerged as a response to the weaknesses or limitations of earlier models. Early theories focused on leaders as exceptional individuals. Over time, scholars realized that leadership is also about behavior, relationships, ethics, and context. Think of leadership theories as tools. One helps us understand leadership from a different angle depending on the context. Over time, leadership thinking shifted from leaders are born to leaders can be trained to leadership depends on people, values, and context. Let us begin with the earliest leadership theories, which focused heavily on the individual leader. The great man theory is one of the earliest leadership perspectives. It assumes that leaders are born, not made. According to this theory, leadership is an innate quality possessed by heroic individuals who naturally emerge during times of crisis, such as wars or political upheaval. Historically, this theory was often associated with military generals, kings, and national heroes, and was most popular during the time of war and political transformations, when people were seeking heroes. Examples often cited include figures like Napoleon Bonaparte, Winston Churchill, or national heroes who appeared to rise above circumstances and lead nations. While this idea may sound outdated today, it was influential at a time when leadership opportunities were limited to a small segment of society. Because leadership was viewed as inborn, it was, however, subsequently criticized as not taking into account the role of education, experience, and social context. So, for the great man theory, ang dapat nating remember dito that great leaders are born, not developed. So as scholars try to study leadership more scientifically, they shifted from heroic figures to identifying a specific leader characteristics. The trait theory builds on the great man idea but tries to make leadership measurable. Instead of focusing on heroes, researchers asked, what traits do effective leaders have? Researchers identified traits such as intelligence, self-confidence, integrity, determination, and sociability. The goal was to create a universal list of traits that could predict leadership success. This approach was appealing because it suggested organizations could select leaders objectively. However, studies later showed that no universal set of traits guarantees success across all situations. Ito na yung sinasabi ni Doc kanina na nag-a-adapt tayo doon sa sitwasyon, which means that different situations require different qualities. A trait that worked in one setting did not guarantee success in another. Because the traits could not fully explain leadership effectiveness, researchers shifted attention to leader behavior. One strength of these early theories is that they are simple and intuitive. People naturally believe that leaders possess certain qualities. They also initiated systematic leadership research, laying the foundation for future studies. Even today, traits are still useful in leadership selection and assessment. However, research revealed major limitations. Traits did not consistently predict success, and these theories ignored training, experience, and content. They also implied that leadership is limited to a small group of gifted individuals, discouraging leadership development. This realization became a turning point in leadership thought, prompting scholars to move beyond traits and ask a new question. If leadership is not just about who leaders are, then what do effective leaders actually do? This question gave rise to behavioral leadership theories by the mid 20th century, which suggests that leadership behavior can be learned and developed. Sorry po, The Ohio State and Michigan University study revealed two primary leadership behaviors, including task-oriented and people-oriented behaviors. The most important contribution of this theory is the fact that leadership could be learned. Nevertheless, it does not give much attention to the effects of various circumstances on the effectiveness of leadership. As scholars examined behavioral theories more closely, they reached an important conclusion that there is no single best leadership style. So leadership is about actions and behaviors that can be learned. Parang This realization gave rise to contingency and situational leadership theories, which suggest that no universal leadership style can fit even every situation. One influential model is the Fiedler's contingency theory, which states that effective leadership does not rely on a single best style, but on the proper match between a leader's relatively fixed leadership orientation and the demands of the situation, arguing that leaders are either task-oriented or relationship-oriented, as measured by the least preferred coworker or LPC scale. Leadership effectiveness is then determined by situational favorableness, which is defined by three key factors: the leader-member relations, task, structure, and position power, such that task-oriented leaders tend to perform best in highly favorable or highly unfavorable situations, which, while relationship-oriented leaders are more effective in moderately favorable conditions, leading Fiedler to conclude that improving leadership outcomes is best achieved by changing the situation to fit the leader rather than attempting to change the leader's style. To better understand Fiedler's contingency theory in practice, the following examples illustrate how leadership effectiveness and Philippine National Police work depends on matching a leader's task-oriented or relationship-oriented style to the demands of a specific operational situations. For task-oriented leader and the PNP, a bypass or armed confrontation operation such as serving a high-risk warrant of arrest against an armed suspect, the situation is highly structured with clear objectives, strict protocols, and strong leader authority. The leader-member relations are generally formal and mistakes can be fatal. In this context, a task-oriented police officer or commander or the team leader is most effective. The commander focuses on operational planning, assigns precise roles, enforces rules of engagement, and closely monitor execution. Emphasis is placed on completing the mission effectively and safely rather than on interpersonal relations. According to Fiedler, this style works best because the leaders focus on task aligns with the high stakes and structured nature of the situation. In contrast, during community policing initiatives such as barangay peace and order meetings or youth crime prevention programs, the situation is moderately favorable. Tasks are less structured. Success depends on cooperation from civilians, and trust between officers and the community is critical. Here's a relationship-oriented police leader is more effective. The leader prioritizes building rapport with community members, listens to officers' concerns, encourages participation, and fosters teamwork. This relational focus improve morale and trust, which are essential for gathering information and sustaining long-term crime prevention efforts. Fiedler's theory explains that in such moderately favorable situations, relationship-oriented leaders achieve higher effectiveness than task-oriented ones. These examples demonstrates Fiedler's key idea that leadership effectiveness depends on matching a leader's style to the situation, not changing the leader's style itself. At this point, leadership theory moves away from the idea of a fixed leadership style and toward adaptability, emphasizing that effective leaders adjust their behavior to meet the needs of followers and the demands of the situation. Both path goal theory and situational leadership theory build on this assumption, but they explain adaptability in different ways. Path goal theory focuses on how leaders motivate their followers. It suggests that leaders are effective when they clarify goals, explain how to achieve them, remove obstacles, and align rewards with performance. Leaders choose among directive, supportive, participative, or achievement-oriented behaviors depending on follower characteristics, such as skills, confidence, and control orientation, and situational factors like task complexity or organizational structure. In contrast, Hershey and Blancard's situational leadership theory explains how leaders adapt their style as followers grow in capability and confidence. This theory centers on follower readiness, defined by combination of competence and commitment. It proposes that leaders should vary the balance between task-focused and relationship-focused behaviors as followers develop, moving sequentially from directing to coaching, to supporting, and ultimately to delegating. So for contingent and situational, the things that we must remember here is effective leadership depends on the situation. So moving on to the contemporary theories, to address ethical concerns and increasing complexity, leadership theory has continued to evolve into more people-centered and system-oriented approaches. Contemporary leadership theories shift the focus from situational tactics to the deeper dynamics of motivation, vision, and organizational culture. This brings us to the study of transactional and transformational leadership, two paradigms that capture how leaders influence performance, engagement, and long-term organizational success. Transactional leadership is based on exchange relationships between leader and follower. You perform, you get rewarded. You fail, you are corrected. This approach emphasizes clarity, efficiency, and compliance. It is particularly effective in stable environments where rules, procedures, and expectations are well defined. But managing transactions alone is not enough when organizations need change. Transformational leadership is centered on inspiring followers to exceed expectations, align with a shared vision, and grow personally and professionally. Unlike transactional leadership, which focuses on exchanges and compliance, transformational leadership emphasizes motivation, innovation, and long-term development. Transformational leaders achieve this through the four I's: idealized influence role model, where the leaders act as ethical and professional exemplars. In a police context, this could be achieved whose integrity and courage inspire trust across the unit. Second, inspirational motivation or vision. Leaders articulate a compelling vision that motivates followers. For instance, implementing community-oriented policing initiatives that rally the team around improving public trust. Third, intellectual stimulation or new thinking. The leaders encourage creativity and challenge assumption. Officers might be encouraged to propose new crime prevention strategies or innovative community engagement programs. And lastly, the individual consideration or coaching. Leaders mentor and coach followers addressing their unique development needs. This could involve tailored training programs or personal guidance to career progression. To illustrate further transactional leadership, a police station chief oversees daily precinct operations. Officers who violate protocols or fail to submit reports are counseled or disciplined. Now, consider the same chief adapting to a transformational approach. The chief mentors officers individually, helping them develop specialized skills like cybercrime investigation or conflict mediation. The takeaways here: transactional leadership ensure efficiency, discipline, and short-term results, but may not foster innovation or intrinsic motivation. Transformational leadership, on the other hand, emphasizes vision, growth, and engagement, inspiring officers to exceed expectations and contribute to long-term organizational development. In practice, many effective PNP leaders blend both approaches. Transactional methods maintain order and accountability, while transformational strategies cultivate motivation, loyalty, and innovation. Moving on to another leadership style, the servant leadership is grounded in the principle that leaders exist primarily to serve their followers, prioritizing the growth, well-being, and development of their team over personal gain. This aligns strongly with Filipino values such as bayanihan and pakikipagkapwa. This approach fosters trust, loyalty, and collaboration, creating an environment where followers feel valued and empowered. However, servant leadership may slow decision-making, particularly in crisis situations that demand swift action, and it carries a risk of leader burnout due to the constant prioritization of others' needs. For example, in a PNP context, a police chief who mentors junior officers provides continuous guidance and ensures they receive proper training, exemplifies servant leadership, as the officers are motivated to perform effectively and develop professionally. Authentic leadership, on the other hand, centers on self-awareness, transparency, and leading according to one's core values rather than external pressures. It builds credibility and trust among followers by promoting open communication and ethical behavior. Despite its advantages, authentic leadership may face challenges in hierarchical or politically driven organizations, and being fully transparent can sometimes create conflicts or vulnerability. In the PNP, an authentic leader could be a police chief who openly acknowledges operational mistakes, explains the reasoning behind key decisions, and encourages officers to communicate honestly, thereby fostering a culture of accountability and psychological safety. Ethical leadership focuses on leading by moral principles, modeling ethical behavior, and promoting fairness, justice, and integrity in decision-making and actions. Ethical leaders prioritize doing what is right over what is expedient. It promotes a culture of accountability, reduces misconduct, and strengthens the organization's credibility. Its limitations include potential conflicts with organizational pressures or political agendas, and slower decision-making in situations requiring expediency. Within the PNP, an ethical leader may enforce merit-based promotions and assignments, refuse to tolerate corruption, and makes decisions that are fair and just, which strengthens both discipline within the organization and public trust. Moving on to relational and shared leadership, leader-member exchange or LMX focuses on the relationship between a leader and each individual follower. It is about building strong individual relationships to motivate followers. Leaders develop closer, high-quality relationships with some team members based on trust, respect, and mutual support. These strong relationships often lead to better performance, higher motivation, and greater commitment. However, leader-member exchange can also create a sense of favoritism if some members are in low quality exchanges, which may hurt morale. Shared or distributed leadership is about working together as a team to leverage everyone's skills. The responsibility is spread among members rather than resting on a single person. This approach works best in complex organizations where different members have specialized knowledge or skills. Its advantages include better collaboration, innovation, and collective problem solving. This main challenge is that unclear roles can sometimes cause confusion or slow decisions. In the PNP, a crime task force may use shared leadership. One officer leads investigations, another handles community relations, and another manages logistics. Together, they make decisions based on each member's expertise. Building on classical and contemporary leadership theories, Filipino leadership reflects both respect for authority and a strong emphasis on relationships, culture, and social harmony. In the Philippine context, effective leadership is balanced or hierarchical authority and relational intelligence. Leaders are respected for their rank, but their ability to connect, show care, and nurture loyalty often determine the long-term success and commitment of their teams. One key aspect is the high power distance tendency, meaning that respect for rank and authority is deeply embedded in organizational culture. Followers generally defer to leaders, and decisions from higher ranks are expected to be followed. At the same time, Filipino leadership emphasizes relational harmony or pakikisama, which values cooperation, smooth social interactions, and maintaining good relationships with the group. Leaders who foster harmony and demonstrate benevolence, guided by utang na loob or sense of moral reciprocity, gain the loyalty and engagement of their followers. In other words, showing genuine care and support builds trust and motivates people to commit fully to organizational goals. Finally, relational skills such as empathy and caring are often more important than formal authority in determining long-term commitment. A leader who takes time to understand officers' personal and professional needs, supports them through challenges, and recognizes their contribution is more likely to inspire lasting dedication and high morale personnel. In summary, leadership thought has evolved from simple hero and trait-based models to more complex approaches that emphasize relationships, context, and follower engagement. Contemporary research highlights the importance of ethic, shared leadership, and situational awareness. Leadership is not a fixed formula. It evolves with people, situations, and culture. By understanding both theory and context, especially our Filipino values such as respect for authority and relational harmony and benevolence, we become more thoughtful and effective leaders. There are several key practices to keep in mind. Good leadership starts with understanding the situation, the task, the team, and the environment before deciding to lead. Leaders should combine competence and relational skills, excelling in both task execution and interpersonal connection. Leadership development programs must be contextualized, anchored in local case studies and Filipino culture values to ensure relevance and effectiveness. Finally, building high-quality leader-member relationships and encouraging shared leadership in complex or collaborative tasks fosters trust, engagement, and long-term commitment. In essence, practical leadership integrates situational awareness, skillful execution, culture sensitivity, and strong collaborative relationships. These are the references I used in preparing this lecture. That ends my presentation on the evolution of leadership thought. Thank you, classmates, for listening. Thank you, Dean.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. One of the strongest takeaways is that leadership theory is not static but continuously evolving alongside organizational and societal change. The discussion clearly showed how early leadership theories reflected rigid hierarchies and centralized authority. As work environments changed, leadership thinking adapted to new realities. And this evolution demonstrates that leadership effectiveness is shaped by context and expectations. So executive must therefore avoid rigid adherence to the single theory. Instead, they should view leadership theories as tools rather than rules. No, the presentation effectively highlighted the limitation of uh, classical leadership theories. No, while trait and great man theories help identify leadership characteristics, they excluded the possibility of leadership development. Modern leadership practice rejects that idea that leadership is reserved for a select few, and executive today are expected to cultivate leadership capacity within their organization. Recognizing the shortcomings of early theories prevents leaders from adopting elitist or exclusionary practices. It also empowers or reinforces the importance of learning, mentoring, and succession planning. Leadership evolution support a more inclusive and developmental view of leadership. Another important insight is the role of behavior in leadership effectiveness. Behavioral theories shifted attention to how leaders interact with others, and this shift emphasized communication, motivation, and interpersonal skills. The presentation showed that leadership behavior directly affects morale and performance. For executive, this reinforces the need to be intentional about how they lead, not just what decisions they make. Leadership behavior becomes a visible expression of organizational values. No? Uh, and this understanding remains highly relevant in supervisory and executive roles. The discussion on contingency and situational theories reinforce the idea that leadership requires adaptability. Executives face varying conditions from stable operations to crisis situation. A leadership approach that works is in one context may fail in another. And the presentation emphasized the importance of diagnosing situation, no, before acting. And this diagnostic skills is essential for executive decision making. No, leaders who fail to adapt risk misalignment and resistance. No? Situational awareness is therefore a core executive leadership capability. So contemporary leadership theories introduced in the presentation reflects the realities of modern organizations. So transformational and servant leadership model emphasize purpose, empowerment, and ethical responsibility. And these theories align well with today's emphasis on engagement and organizational culture. So executive are no longer viewed merely as controllers of resources, but as enabler of human commitment or human potential. No? And the presentation highlighted how these models foster trust and commitment. This is particularly important in organizations facing rapid change. Contemporary theories provide a more human-centered approach to leadership. Another key takeaway is that modern leadership is increasingly distributed and shared. Leadership is no longer confined to formal position. No? Teams and individuals at various levels can demonstrate leadership behaviors. For executive, this means creating systems and cultures that encourage leadership at all levels. And the presentation reinforced that empowering others does not weaken executive authority. Instead, it strengthens organizational resilience and innovation. So leadership, evolution, support, collaboration over command. So again, understanding the evolution of leadership thought enables executive to lead with greater awareness and flexibility. Leadership theories provide a rich foundation for informed practice, not rigid application. Executive leaders draw from multiple perspective, no, depending on the situation. Again, no, take note of it. And this topic, no, prepare us to engage more critically with leadership styles, emotional intelligence, and strategic leadership in the succeeding discussion. It challenges us to reflect on our leadership assumption, and leadership evolution remind us that effective leadership is both learned and continuously refined. Okay? Thank you so much, presenter.